What is up, everybody? Keith, a.k.a. Gator Guy 231, and it is week 3, guys. It's going by way too fast. Zach and TK, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Looking forward to another fun week.
Yeah.
Gonna incorporate
Fun
some
for
more
you.
game stacks. Gonna incorporate more game stacks, as that really worked out well for me in GPPs. So looking forward to this new week.
I like it. Zach, how about you, man?
Living the dream here.
Even I'll tell you what. You had what, 2 or 3 cash in the power sweep with 100% Paris Campbell?
I went 3 for 3. I had Paris Campbell in all of them, Derrick Henry in 2 or 3. So
yeah, that Paris Campbell was it literally first play, and they did like a reverse?
Second play. First play was a handoff to Taylor. Second play.
If y'all don't know, or this is your first time watching, we were big on Paris Campbell last week. So it was unfortunately. Here's the thing. I know you were big on Mo Alley Cox, which we'll talk about. Do you think that he has the game he has if Paris Campbell doesn't get injured? Or do you think he's like okay, but Paris blows up?
I think it probably goes like 50-50 between, especially because the game blew out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So the passing game is like literally him and Michael Pittman for a while.
Yeah. And you actually gave me a good segue. Something I want to say. If you guys didn't watch my cash game recap, you don't need to. I lost, so like nobody needs to go back. It's not my funnest moment, but
it's good learning material.
What's that?
It's good learning material. It's always good to recap your lineups.
Yeah, and you know what I said, and I think it sticks, and we'll jump into picks. But my big issue, I didn't have any problems with the players. I had 2 points. My big issue was I fell in love with Davante Adams, which I mean everybody should. But there's always a chance with the Packers that you get game flowed out. What we just said with the Colts is another team that you could get game flowed out on these receivers. And when you're paying the Davante Adams tag and you're passing up the huge total in Atlanta and Dallas, I think you made a mistake. So mistake 1. Mistake 2, I had too many Jets. I had 2 of them.
How popular was
I hate
Herndon?
the Jets.
He was popular, and then he became a passing down back because a front pass blocker because Frank Gore was going to get them out of their issue.
Yeah. Down like 20 points. Let's just keep handing it off to Gore. He needs 20 carries. I hate the Jets.
No more Jets. No more Jets. Don't worry, guys. No Jets coming up today. So we're going to be going over our top picks: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Keep in mind with this Wednesday night as we are taping, there is going to be a shit ton probably of more injury news to come. So hopefully all of our guys survive. But look for updates if you are interested. And here's the big kicker: if you've made it this long, here goes your congratulations. Use promo code FSI. So look at my logo, FSI NFL 3, and you get a free week of NFL just for watching this video. So make sure you use that. The link to subscribe on the site will be in the details here. Take that promo code FSI NFL 3, get a free week. Look in chat. We have ranks, we have cores. All that will come out Saturday night and Sunday morning where we'll update everything. Anything before we jump into the picks, guys?
I think
other than that, it's a killer deal, right?
Oh, the best deal, and the FSI logo's to your other side.
It's inverted, so it's one of these corners.
He's like pointing this way. I was like, "That's his name."
One of those corners. All right, enough making fun of me. Let's jump into the picks. Quarterback. I don't care who starts out. Zach, you're in the top left. You are top right. Whatever you were at. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm starting right at the top of the list, Dak Prescott. The Seahawks really have changed their philosophy, whereas the last 10 years they've been defense and ground and pound. Not the case this year. They're letting Russ play. They're shooting out every game. They have no pass rush, no D-backs. Dak Prescott coming off a monster game. I'm sure a lot of us, I know, had Zeke. I'm pretty sure we all cored him. Watched Dak Prescott run for 3 touchdowns at the 1-yard line. Tilting, but it's going to happen. He has a lot of rushing upside. He threw for over 450 yards as well. They switched to they don't run the tight ends like they used to. They drafted CD Lamb first round. And as expected, he's playing 85% of snaps, which means they're running 3 wideouts all day. That they're just playing really fast, and love Dak Prescott.
Love it. TK, I'll kick it to you. Who do you got?
I just wanted to follow up. Cowboys, Seahawks, obviously the big game stack of the week. It's like your Cowboys Atlanta game last week. And I think a lot of that has to do with, Seattle missing players in their back end, and Dallas missing a couple cornerbacks in their back end. Things I'm going to get to later on when we get down and talk about receivers. But yeah, for quarterbacks, I'm going to go with the guy that's going to throw for 300 yards and throw for 2 TDs every week, and that's going to be Matt Ryan. 6,600. I think he's matchup proof. The offensive philosophy for Atlanta this year is just score as many points as possible because their defense is that bad. So that being said, I think Matt Ryan 6,600 gives you a fair discount in price. You're going to get some of the similar production you're going to get from guys like Russ and Dak up at the top. Week 2, he went for 28 points. Week 1, he went for 27. He's got good receivers in Gage, Ridley, Hurst. Gurley's going to get his 19 touches. He's going to get his, 3.3 yards per carry as he always does. And Matt Ryan's going to throw all the touchdown passes. Bears do pose a good threat in the secondary, and that's going to be pretty tough. But I think volume-wise, Atlanta's going to throw enough, and they're going to have enough plays ran for Matt Ryan to get there essentially for you.
And you know what the best script possible for you is? Bears get the ball, get up 7-0. Matt Ryan, next pass, pick 6, floodgates.
There you go. You're going to be throwing the rest of the game.
That's where you actually love it when you just go, I actually love that my QB just turned it over because there's no running the rest of the game. So question for you guys. Week 4, I guess I should say week 3. How much were we paying for Lamar Jackson last week or last year?
$6K probably.
7. Oh, you're talking early on.
Probably around 7. And what was he going to be like 75% owned until he got up to like 8K, right?
Right. Cash? Yeah. Now he floats around 30 now. Yeah, around 8K. But yeah, early on he was only like 6'5".
Yeah, I remember the first fight being like 6-1 versus Miami, and then I think he inflated. But I say all that because Kyler Murray at this point, can we just like he's a I don't want to say he's a poor man's Lamar Jackson. Like he is doing pretty much Lamar Jackson things, but in a more conducive DFS offense that's going to continuously give us scripts that he's going to be running the ball, running a ton because his O-line isn't that great. And then the defense is – everybody's playing so fast. The defense is still allowing points. So I just think that almost every single week we can play Kyler Murray with confidence, knowing that we're probably going to get 18 to 20 DK because of the rushing that's built in. Detroit, I'm not worried about at all, especially if Detroit gets down. Their Stafford's just going to throw the ball 50 times. So, I don't know. To me, 6,800, I saw Kyler Murray. I clicked. I was shocked by his ownership last week that he was
at 6-1, yeah, it honestly felt like the easiest click ever for cash lineups at least.
I think I had him in like 15 to 20 lineups.
Yeah. So, let's hope it's the same way again. I think Kyler Murray to me is like my click easy for cash. I think that maybe he does go overlooked because you guys brought up 2 great picks with like Dak Prescott and Matt Ryan. So maybe we see it spread out. But I love quarterbacks that run the ball. I do all the college football for us too. One of the first things I sort by is what guys are going to get us rushing upside too. So I love that. I love the spot for Kyler.
This week it's pretty crazy. If you look at the top price quarterbacks, it's running quarterback, running quarterback, running quarterback, running quarterback, running quarterback until you get to Matt Ryan.
Right.
So it's like you can definitely tell that that's the change that is going for DFS.
And the only reason why you take Matt Ryan is because he's going to throw it 45.
You're going to get that 300 bonus every time.
The bonus on FanDuel, you can't do it. Without the bonus on FanDuel, you can't do it. FanDuel with the rushing touchdown equity too.
That's where you play your running quarterbacks every time. FanDuel.
Absolutely. All right. So I think those are 3 awesome QBs. Let's jump to running backs. Zach, kick us off.
I'm going back to Jonathan Taylor. Pretty sure I know at least 2 of us had him cord last week.
Yeah. Me and you
this week, every single time that so like all year, it's going to be like a Nyheim Hines or Jonathan Taylor. Everyone's going to debate it. These matchups where that they're going to go out to the lead are going to be Jonathan Taylor scripts. The Jets are the worst team in football. I don't think that it's really even a close second to me. Their defense terrible. They have Quentin Williams is their only good player. So no worry about that. They're going to score at ease. They're going to be up 3 touchdowns probably. And from there, like last week, Jonathan Taylor had 20 carries in the first half, I believe. Yep. It's going to be just like that again. They're going to feed him. It's hopefully he scores the early touchdowns. If not, he's going to get a 100-yard bonus again. I just see no reason to not love Jonathan Taylor again.
I Can't agree more. You know what's funny though? What I was just thinking when you said the worst team in football. So like people would say like Miami and Jacksonville, put them in there. Dude, tomorrow's or today's, whenever you're watching it, that game's gonna be so much fun.
I'm
looking
so
forward
excited
to
for the
tomorrow.
showdown.
The show,
Yeah.
oh my god. But like the Jets showdown, you go, oh god, I don't want to play anybody. And on this one, I'm like, oh my god, I want like 5-1 stacks on both sides. Just there's
They
so
at
much
least have
excitement in those teams.
Yeah, they at least like Fitzpatrick. He's gonna go out and sling the ball. Like Sam Darnold, honestly, why I think he's underrated. But it's like
Well,
Adam Gase is so terrible that.
that's what I was gonna say.
It's Gase.
Miami
Gase.
knows they have a good receiving tight end, and they actually let him like play in the slot. The Jets have a good receiving tight end. Chris Herndon's good, and they line him up to block. It's just like okay.
Every single play too. Like not even like, okay, maybe we should get our athletic tight end the ball. No, they just put him back there to block because they have no tackles. I don't want to play. I don't want to talk about the Jets. I get too fired up.
You know what's happening right now? It's like every bettor now needs to like load up on the Jets because there's so much hatred going. This is where they win.
Phillip Rivers 3 pick 6 is coming.
I mean, from a betting standpoint, like, are you going to pick them to cover? No. I don't have any interest in playing a Jet for like.
That's why it's probably going to work out.
Right.
Anyhow, Tim, now that I got you all frustrated.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta say, like, Derrick Henry tilt is unbelievable. But if you're thinking of spots, like, Anthony Barr just went down and, Danielle Hunter just went down. Two defensive linemen for the Vikings that just went down for that defense that is leaking points like everywhere. I even have Tannehill wrote down in quarterbacks because I was still debating on Matt Ryan or Ryan Tannehill. But I just think the Titans offense is in a really good spot. I think Derrick Henry, the last 2 weeks, he's been shafted at the goal line. And I think the play designs are going to get a little bit more Derrick Henry oriented, I think, because they want to show the big back some love. This is another spot where the Titans are going to be from the lead. Now, that could blow up in my face, and 7,900 is too steep. So I do have Chris Carson also written down. He's getting a lot of the receiving work, and, 19 points in week 2, 24 in week 1. Let Russ cook is not afraid to throw to his running back. So I don't think it's sustainable that Carson scores a receiving touchdown every week, but I certainly think that the volume and the snaps and everything is pointing towards Carson to score more points. And I can't remember his price tag, but I don't think it reached 7K. So I think you still get a fairly good, decent price on him. So I don't mind Carson. Henry, because I love hurting myself when it comes to losing. I
saw you checking. Dude, I think that's a super sharp pick.
I love the Derrick Henry call.
I just love to lose.
Every casual fan's going to see Minnesota be scared, not realize that they're not a good defense anymore. Every good fantasy player is going to say, I got burnt by this guy 2 straight weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's honest to God, like the perfect spot that
it's a GPP
like
winner.
20% less owned than he should and shows up like 3 touchdowns. And people are like,
it's going to be the blow up
I knew he was good.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to end up having the chalkiest play of the slate, Miles Sanders.
The guy, yeah.
In my defense, like I've tried to talk him up every single week since it started. He didn't play the first week, but he's a misprice on DraftKings at 6,400. Who's the Bengals, who we saw TK's Browns run all over. Like,
oh yeah.
If Baker wasn't cooking, Chubb and Hunt probably could have rushed for 250.
Oh, I mean, even the production from the Browns running backs was still high. I mean, Chubb had about 90 yards and a touchdown, and Hunt got his like late receiving TD, which I expect.
Thank you for segue. He was so damn wide open. Like, him could have thrown him the ball. And guess what? Carson Wentz needs some people wide open to be able to throw them the ball these days. So 7 targets last week for Miles Sanders too. So we get what? Wide receiver 2 targets. We get 20 carries. We get a crappy run defense, and we get $6,400 price tag.
It's the
gotta fade him one time because I went all in on like Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and Zeke everywhere. Maybe there's enough equity there to fade just knowing his ownership, especially in like the Millie Maker. But in cash games, I don't see a way that you're not building around Miles Sanders.
I think that's spot on.
And he's just really good. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
He's a really talented guy. All right, wide receiver, Zach, go for it.
Okay, I'm going with JuJu SmithSchuster from my Pittsburgh Steelers.
Boo.
I knew that was coming.
When you say Jew?
I think that's what I heard. This week they get the Texans. The first 2 weeks they had no one really pushed them. They had Denver who was banged up. So last week they had Giants week 1, Denver last week who got banged up. And while the box score was close, like they didn't play like it was a close game, not the pass attempts that you'd want to see from the Steelers. I think Deshaun Watson's going to be the one that breaks that. So while the Steelers' defense is really good, I don't think that they're as crazy good as everyone says they are because they have faced such poor opponents. So I think this week, I think Houston's going to come out, punch them in the mouth a little bit, and we're going to get a big Pittsburgh Steelers offense day. When it comes to JuJu, Houston's secondary is not good. JuJu is anytime the Steelers throw a lot, he's just a big slot receiver that is a matchup nightmare. There's no slot corner that can really match up with his height. And he has 8 targets each of the first 2 games. I honestly think that's going to be a floor for him. I'm projecting like 12 to 15 targets for this game. And people like didn't know about Deontay Johnson the first 2 games. Like they knew about him, but they're finally realizing how good he actually is. He's going to get more attention. I think it's a big JuJu game here.
Like it.
I love that call.
And JuJu.
That talked me into some Houston Pittsburgh stacks right there. I think
it's a really good GPP stack.
Yeah.
Especially there's your running quarterback. Go on the other side.
Right.
All right. Roll out to TK.
Okay, so I had a thing about the Dallas-Seattle game on why you should be playing receivers on both sides. Lockett and Metcalf are pretty obvious, with 6,400, 63. DK's really got a balanced salary going this week, and I think that's going to lead to some builds where I kind of don't pay for 7,000 for quarterback, and I try to float more of these 6K guys in my lineup. DK Metcalf burned, obviously the cornerback in the league. Gilmore for a 54-yard touchdown. He's getting the hype that he was getting coming out of the draft about being one of the biggest and best receivers in the game. Comparable to Julio, I don't think he's there yet, but I think, the 280 yards and a couple touchdowns in a couple weeks is pretty good to see. And then you got Tyler Lockett, who's a big slot, small, shifty slot guy. Dallas just lost their slot corner. They are still without their top corner, Awuzie, and Diggs is questionable. So they're looking at a really banged up secondary. I think Seattle's really going to feast. The hashtag Let Russ Cook is still in effect, so Seattle's going to be throwing a lot. And then on the other side, I do like Lamb at 5,400. They still haven't priced him up high enough. Seattle slot guy went down, so he's going to be and then they also have been getting burned from the slot. Gage went off for 6 catches, 46 yards and a TD. And then what we saw on Sunday night when Edelman came and had a big second half, over 100 yards and like 7 catches. So the slot is where Lamb sits. 84% of his snaps are in the slot. So high on Lamb and high on DK and Lockett. I'm going to be having a lot of that stack, and that's why.
Like it. So my pick is showing up questionable now, but I'm going to talk about N'Keal Harry. I guess he has a knee injury now, and it was
he's limited in practice.
So it was a shoulder before. So anyhow, N'Keal Harry finally showing a little bit of the promise that they drafted him to have. Obviously, a lot is game flow dependent, so that's the only concern I do have in New England and Vegas is if that game just ends up being like a running war. But 18 targets first 2 weeks, and he's sitting at 4,200. To me, just is way too cheap. He's super talented too. I don't know if you guys watched, but I liked that they were throwing some bubble screens to him too, like that they're going to get him some of those easy catches. Like that's what you want to see. I don't want to see him just having like long routes. Like I like that we're going to get maybe some easy some points for him. So 4,200 I think is good. In case he does not play, I don't know the Patriots receiving court's great. I know that Bird would probably get a huge jump.
I was just going to say, if he does miss, Bird had 9 targets last game. He's been priced. So
yeah. So I think that's fine. The other, so I wanted just to – hold on. He's not spelled B-I-R-D, just for the record. B-Y-R-D.
B-Y, yeah.
And then secondly, I do just want to mention if A.J. Brown misses make sure to have his name right. Is it Adam Humphries? Is that his first name? Yes, it's Adam. Yeah. I should know as a former Bucks guy, but I was like, is it Alex or Adam? But Adam Humphries Always a good slot guy. We know Tannehill doesn't mind those dump offs. So 11 catches, 95 yards in the first 2 games, 3,900. Honestly, I would play Bird. But I had research done on Humphrey just in case I wanted to drop that. But
There's
I think
a lot of
3K. Shoot.
There's a lot of cheap guys this week. You have both Colts guys that are going to fill in for Paris Campbell. Braxton Berrios is 3.6, and he's going to be probably the number 1 wide receiver for Sam Darnold this week, even though it's the Jets.
No. Stop.
But
No.
the Colts allow the short pass games, and I think Berrios is playable.
Oh, so hold on. So you want to go back to Chris Herndon then? Short pass game?
Well, he's not going to be blocking. That's the benefit.
I'm gonna be crying after the end of this.
Dude, my role this week is if anybody flashes like Jets, be like, no! And Jets are going to score 35. Maybe that should be my hot take. All right, let's quickly go over tight end. We're running a little bit late. Let's go over tight end. Go ahead, Zach.
Okay, this week, go back to my boy Mo Alley Cox, another guy against the Jets, terrible defense. He's an athletic freak. He played basketball at VCU. He's been stuck behind Jack Doyle and Eric Ebron forever. But every time he gets to play, he shows signs of being a really good football player. And last week he finally got a start, had 5 catches, 110 yards or so. He got tackled inside the 2 once and dropped a touch, or would have been a tough touchdown, but was in the end zone on 1. He kind of reminds me of George Kittle with the ball. Obviously not anywhere near as good, but he is just so physical and wants to run right through you. And we know how much Philip Rivers likes to throw to his tight ends, especially those athletic guys. So.
And he's made you a lot of money making up for your Paris Campbell shares last week. So.
Saved me last week.
And he was unowned. Like,
nope.
It was crazy.
It's everyone with Herndon.
Yep. Anyhow. So TK wanted me to jump in so he could just do a wrap up on tight ends, but I put down Logan Thomas. I think honestly this week you either go Logan Thomas or Mo Cox and Cash. I don't really see a lot of other options, but 17 targets in 2 weeks. He's playing a lot. I believe if I ever looked right, he's even playing out of the slot. It's not always in line, so you're getting kind of a slot wide receiver at times that's playing almost 100% of the snaps. I think that Logan Thomas, especially versus the Browns, who we know for years have given up a lot of good fantasy production from the tight end position. So at 3.7, I was surprised by the price. So I think that he fits a lot of builds.
Yeah, Logan Thomas is the obvious play at tight end for cash games. The Browns giving up, 11 catches, 87 yards, and a TD to the Bengals tight ends. And then week 1, they gave up 2 touchdowns to Andrews. I mean, no formidable safety or linebacker on that team that can guard Logan Thomas, who's playing 91% of the snaps. Give me all the Logan Thomas. And then to pair with my quarterback, Matt Ryan, you can go with someone like Hayden Hurst, who's separating himself as tight end 1 in Atlanta. And if you think the Bears, corners are good enough, I think you can go with Hurst as your stackable option in cash for Atlanta if you wanted to go with Matt Ryan in cash or GPPs. So I like Hurst as a potential flyer for touchdowns in the red zone.
I like it. All right, so new section. At some point this season, we're going to figure out how we're going to end this properly. So Zach had the idea of let's do some hot takes rather than just conviction plays that are just going to be repetitive. So Zach, why don't you? And this can be betting, this can be DFS, just whatever. What is your hot take of the week?
My hot take this week is that James Conner finishes as RB1, the number 1 overall running back this week.
Ooh.
So he always comes scary because if he doesn't play well, Benny Snell's going to come in. But the nice thing about him is, if he's playing bad, Benny Snell will play the first and second down. Jalen Samuels will play third down. When James Conner's in, he's a 3-down back, gets all the work. We saw last week as he crushed the Broncos, who Derrick Henry struggled with. This week he gets the Texans, who have been terrible against the run. We also saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire go for 25 for 140. Last week's stat lines against the Ravens, Ingram 9 for 55 touchdown, Gus Edwards 10 for 75, J.K. Dobbins 10 for 48. They do not guard the run well. I just think that James Conner, if he gets off to a hard start, he's going to have a massive game.
And he won't be owned. TK, you ready, or do you want me to go?
Oh, I got a good hot take. That was a good hot take. I like it.
Can I pause real quick? I got to give you some. I laughed on this week 1 when you said the Raiders.
Aha! Raiders going to the
look
Super
good,
Bowl.
man. So I wanted to give
They
you
are
props.
good.
I wanted to give you props on that. The Raiders, that was a hell of a take. I think I gave you
John
one.
Gruden call, man. It's
Good.
John Gruden.
Well done. That this is me saying I'm wrong. Well done.
Well, it is only 2 weeks though, so I want to be reserved on that. I can't get too far ahead. They
Fair.
got a gauntlet schedule coming up with some tough games, but that was all part of the pick. Is they got a really tough schedule to start out. I think that paves the way for a much easier back end of the schedule where they can get a lot of healthy guys going. And I think the early season struggles lead to late season success. So that's where the Raiders pick came from.
I like it, man.
And I love it because I got a bet for them to go to the Super Bowl because I backed it up with some money. So let's hope it comes through. All right, but my conviction play of the week is going to be DeAndre Swift of the Detroit Lions. I'm going with a big week for DeAndre Swift. I think he flashes this, round 2 running back potential. He had 12 points in week 2, 11 points in week 1. He is their gadget play. He is like the Theo Riddick of the Detroit Lions now, and I loved Theo Riddick for the Lions. He caught 5 balls for 60 receiving yards in week 2, and he had a rushing touchdown week 1. The Arizona Cardinals gave up 80-yard touchdown to Mozart in week 1, and they averaged 5.1 yards. Or the Washington Redskins averaged 5.1 yards per carry versus this same Arizona Cardinals defense. I think if there's anything you can do against this Cardinals defense, it is attack them outside the tackles, get those rush ends buried underneath with their tackles and tight ends. And I think the Lions are going to expose that, and they're going to get Swift some catches out of the backfield as well. I think Swift is going to go for 20 DK points this week at a sub 8K or sub 6K price tag.
I like it. All right, so I think this is hot. This is the chalk guy trying to do a hot take, but I think this is a hot take. I think my favorite GPP stack of the week, which I will only put in once, but Joe Burrow to AJ Green.
Ooh.
So let me just kind of back it up.
You had me.
The Eagles defense has looked absolutely awful against the pass. Now, even Dwayne Haskins looked okay. And then Jared Goff and the Rams just went in there and did whatever they wanted. We saw what Burrow did to the Browns in terms of efficiency and looking the part already. And then for the AJ Green part, I just feel like he's the type of guy that, and kind of a legendary player. Like I think he's a Hall of Famer, right? Am I wrong? He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Close. Let's see how he ends. He's on the fringe, but I can't imagine that he can take all this talk about how he's dust and he's done. I just could see him blowing up and people going, where the hell did AJ Green pop out? So that's my super contrarian, little bit of narrative behind it, but AJ Green, Joe Burrow to AJ Green GPP stack.
I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in air yards, isn't he?
It's something. I know his targets are crazy. And guess what? It's not like Joe Burrow's going to go, after 2 weeks, AJ, I can't throw you the ball anymore. It's still AJ Green's team. So
no, these are hot takes, and so I like it. I like that call.
Yeah, let's. I was looking now. I'm like, well, what's the hottest take? Here's one. Well,
definitely.
That will do us. That will do it for us this week, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. One last reminder: FSI NFL 3 for the free week of content. Jump in. It's an awesome Discord. You guys will really enjoy it. And on that note, we are out. See you later and have a great week 3. See you.
Later.